years. And I would specifically draw your attention to our research piece, Equity Interrupted, which covers that and also covers the link between the disinvestment in the CSU and diversification in the CSU in terms of our student body over the past 30 years. As we stand ready to continue to work with the Assembly, we also really want to take time to thank you in making sure that the fees are not increased this year. Again, the vote that we're talking about, the vote that will take place March 22nd. And as a matter of fact, CFA is also a sponsor of ABA 393. Now, speaking as a concerned parent, I have a young man who's entering high school and very much wants to study engineering at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I'm in a fairly common situation as a professor where, although I work in the system, I'm struggling to put aside money for my child to be able to go to college in the system. And I should add that part of the reason why I'm here and I've dedicated my life to the CSU is that both of my parents have degrees from San Francisco State University, but obviously at a time when it was much more affordable to attend San Francisco State University. A couple of things that I think are important to think about here, that despite regular and large tuition fees and hikes, these haven't really made up for the funding difference for the CSU. State funding and tuition increases combined have only increased CSU funding by 41.5% in real inflation-adjusted dollars. Actually, if tuition had simply been kept pace with inflation over the past 30 years, students would be paying $1,519 in tuition and fees. Instead, they're paying about 4.5 times that amount. And the long-term shortfall in state funding that's accumulated over the years has massive implications for our students, including the inability to get into the CSU, skyrocketing tuition costs. In fact, tuition costs have grown over 923% over the past 30 years. So you can see that there's a changing definition of affordability in our system. I know that many of you are aware that 8 to 12% of our student population are homeless. 25% face food insecurity. So as this fee increase is looming in the CSU for the Board of Trustees vote March 22nd, it's very clear that affordability first has to mean that tuition has to stay flat. And again, I want to thank the committee members for committing to voting against that tuition increase. Certainly my students are organizing to defeat this. I also want to thank Assembly Democrats and Speaker Rendon for their leadership, for prioritizing college affordability, and I want to thank Assembly Member Sharon Quirk-Sylvia for authoring AB 393. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments from committee members? Seeing none, I do note that we did spend a lot of time just 2 weeks ago, last week? 2 weeks ago on this topic, and I think that we've put before us today a good proposal that refines some of the issues, some of the concerns that came out as far as family contribution. And again, this is based on shared responsibility. We're asking the students to do their part by working 15 hours a week, which they currently do anyway. We're asking parents to step up with a reasonable family contribution, something that's already accepted in many financial aid models in California and across the nation. And then, frankly, most importantly for us, being fiscally responsible, this is a multi-year phase-in. We plan on adopting the program, hopefully in the budget this year, as we're looking to do today, and then set in motion a path to fund it in the next year and phase it in as revenues become available in the budget. And like we did with the middle class scholarship, we'll have opportunities to ramp up or to pause depending on the economic situation. So fiscal responsibility is a major element in this as we implement it. And then the biggest thing, of course, is this thing we think for the first time in a generation says that we have a path here not just to focus on tuition and fees, but the total cost of education. And it's a covenant that we're putting forward that if people follow it, students up to $400,000 in California, there's a path for truly debt-free college education in our great state of California. So with that, we think we have a good path forward and look forward to continue working on this in the months to come. So with that, look